O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
So usually a honeymoon to Cairo involves sightseeing or maybe, haggling over souvenirs. It definitely does not involve your new wife pointing at a random museum artifact.
Right, especially not exhibit number 666.
Exactly. And then accidentally kicking off this, radical occult philosophy. So today on the Deep Dive, we are looking at Aleister Crowley's The Book of the Law, specifically Chapter 2.
Yeah, to figure out how that bizarre 1904 museum visit burst a philosophy of absolute individual sovereignty.
Because, Crowley claimed an entity named Awas literally dictated this text to him over 3 days. Okay, let's unpack this. Because Crowley was actually what he called a hostile scribe.
Which is so fascinating. His conscious mind hated the very words his hand was, forced to write down.
Right, think about it. You have this hardcore Victorian ascetic steeped in discipline and self-denial. And suddenly, he is channeling a manifesto that preaches the spiritual perfection of total indulgence.
Well, to understand why this dictated text horrified his conscious mind so much, we really have to look at the mathematical cosmology it proposed. The universe, according to this text, is framed as a 0 = 2 equation.
Wait, 0 = 2. How does that work?
So imagine a state of perfect nothingness, right? A 0.
Yeah.
But that 0 is actually made of perfectly balanced positive and negative forces.
Ah, okay, like matter and antimatter sort of thing.
Exactly. When you divide them, you get two opposing forces that create all of reality. So Chapter 1 introduces Nuit, representing infinite space, or, the circumference of everything.
Right, the vastness.
Yeah, and then Chapter 2 is spoken by Hadith, who is the unextended kinetic point of consciousness, like the absolute center.
So Nuit is the space, and Hadith is the observer in that space.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that this leads to the famous phrase, every man and every woman is a star. This shifts the entire locus of divinity.
Oh, wow.
You are no longer looking up at an external sky god. The divinity is the inner self, what the ancient Egyptians called the Kabs. But honestly, doesn't that just sound like cosmic narcissism, though? Like some spiritual ego trip GPS where you are the literal center of the universe?
I mean, it sounds that way for sure, but according to the framework of the text, it is a mechanical necessity. Oh. Without the observer, without Hadith, infinite space, or Nuit, is just an unexperienced void.
Oh, I see. So there is no known universe without a knower to experience it.
Exactly. They are the noun and the verb of existence. And this brings up the core concept of true will, which isn't just doing whatever you want.
Right. It is not just a free-for-all.
No, it means discovering your exact predestined orbit in the universe and moving along that path with zero friction.
Because that divine anchor rests entirely within the individual, meaning
Yes.
all those old religious rules requiring suffering and, self-denial are violently rendered obsolete.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's the total dismantling of what the text calls the Aeon of Osiris.
The old era of dying gods and guilt and asceticism. Right. So Hadith embraces the serpent, the Luciferian archetype, not as a source of evil, but as the illuminator bringing knowledge.
It completely redefines the idea of a hermit, too. A hermit isn't someone starving alone in a cave anymore.
No, definitely not.
It is someone perfectly centered in their true will, out enjoying beds of purple and worldly success. Which challenges you, the listener, to ask a pretty uncomfortable question. Is your own self-denial actual virtue, or is it just outdated societal conditioning?
That is such a huge point. But this raises an important question, too. If this entire philosophy relies on subjective inner truth and your personal true will, why did the dictating entity feel the need to include objective mathematical proof of its existence?
Oh, man, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, because verse 76 of the text suddenly drops a massive, unsolvable puzzle.
A random alphanumeric string. Yeah. Right. Starting with 4638 ABK.
Exactly. And the text prophesied that a follower would eventually decode it.
It is literally like a PGP signature or a time-locked digital vault. A cryptographic hash designed to prove the text wasn't just hallucinated by Crowley's subconscious.
Right.
Like only the true successor would possess the key to unlock it.
And that exact mechanism caused decades of occult succession crises.
Wait, really? People actually fought over this math puzzle?
Oh, absolutely. Whoever could mathematically prove they had deciphered that specific code could claim to be the true prophesied successor of the religion.
That is wild.
You have psychoanalysts like Israel Regardie arguing this was all just a psychological breakthrough, just Crowley's repressed shadow breaking out into random numbers.
Right, the subconscious bubbling up.
Yeah, but then you have occultists like Kenneth Grant arguing this
Wow.
was actual praetor-human or even extraterrestrial contact.
Wow. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. The kinetic physics of Hadith dividing 0 into 2, the aggressive rejection of asceticism, and those enduring cryptograms from 1904. So what does this all mean?
I think fundamentally it is a mandate to find your exact orbit and unapologetically execute your true will.
Which brings us back to that cosmic GPS concept. If the material universe mechanically requires an active, joyful observer to even exist, how does the very fabric of reality warp when a star decides to suppress its nature and act against its own true will? Something for you to ponder.